other JoJo references, Morgan.
We're not talking about that. We're not talking about that here. Stop it.
We'll talk about JoJo's when Part 6 comes out.
No.
It'll be 2 years. It'll be 2 years when Part 6 comes out.
You think we're still going to be doing this in 2 years?
I hope so. Wow. Way to shut it down. Dang, dude. You don't think we're going to take off in the podcasting world?
I don't know. Longevity is like kind of hard thing to like pull off.
I mean, we've been doing it fine for so long.
It's been 6 weeks.
Yeah, exactly. And we put one out 5 of those 6 weeks.
Yeah, you
really
just gotta
4.5.
Whatever. You just gotta finish Breaking Bad, and then we can keep going for forever.
Well, that's gonna be tough. I guess I'll get that out of the way. So, guess what, of you listeners, all 4 of you. Remember last episode where I said I promised I would finish Breaking Bad so we can talk about El Camino on the podcast?
He didn't.
I didn't, because I was starting to hate the show because it was becoming an obligation. And I decided that my enjoyment of this genuinely good show is more important than this podcast. So no, we're not talking about El Camino on the podcast. And I am willing to accept a punishment, a media punishment. Morgan's got one cooked up that we're going to talk about it.
Your punishment is your punishment, and because you didn't do it, I get punished too. We have to watch Spider-Man 3.
We're watching Spider-Man 3.
We're watching Spider-Man 3. We're going to love it. We're going to hate it. We're going to laugh. We're going to cry.
We're going to watch it for an hour and laugh, and then the rest of it's going to be so painful.
We're just going to be sitting there in silence, just going like,
yeah.
Ugh.
The first half we're going to be like all joshing and stuff, and then an hour in, exactly 60 minutes, we're just going to fall.
Who's Josh?
Joshing.
Who's Josh?
He's my friend. He's on our data team. Josh and Glenn, you don't know the 2 new data team members, dude?
Okay, I'm putting this to an end. We don't have a data team.
We do have a data team.
We don't have a data team.
We do have a data team.
We have no data team.
We have a data team. It's Josh and Glenn. We had to let everyone else go.
The joke is over. We don't have a data team.
We have a data team. You just don't know it.
This is the crappiest joke, and the crappiest like ongoing joke that we could do, and we keep on doing it.
Our data team?
Yeah.
No, you've never been in the data team joke.
Stop it. Just stop it.
I am continuing the true data team.
Okay, move on. Quick. Just get to what you want to talk to. Like, come on. We're done.
Outer Worlds, dude.
The game.
The development. Obsidian. Come on. We both been playing Outer Worlds. Let's talk about Outer Worlds.
So let's give background first about this game.
It's a good game.
No, like
that's the
background about like this game.
It came out the 25th.
No, like the history of development and stuff like that.
Oh, it was developed by Obsidian. Done.
You're doing a terrible job. Okay, so Obsidian is a company. It's been in the gaming industry for a long time.
I don't feel like we need to describe who Obsidian is. They're pretty well known. They did the Fallout New Vegas. They've done both Pillars of Eternity. I believe it was the Pillars of Eternity or Divinity Sin. I forget which one. A lot of top-down stuff. Also, a lot of their team did the original 2 Fallouts.
Original 2 Fallouts?
Yeah, Fallout 1 and 2.
2, yeah.
Yeah, the top-down isometric stuff.
Okay, then that's what I wanted to get to. The fact that like this Outer Worlds is basically Fallout. It's their version of Fallout.
Fallout in space.
It's Fallout in space. Which is super interesting because apparently they got a lot of people from the team that worked.
Mm-hmm.
You just bumped the table.
I did bump the table. Wow, Morgan. I bumped the table once.
And I've only done it 4 times.
Out of our 5 podcast episodes.
Stop it. But no, like, it's an interesting game. It's a very interesting game. You liked it.
I love it.
You knew you were going to like it right away.
I knew I was going to be in for it. There's a couple of things that I disappointed already, but nothing can ruin the overall enjoyment mood.
Enjoyment mood?
Yes. I just feel warm inside when I play that game. I really do. There's never a boring moment. I laugh a lot. I chuckle. The writing is really good, bar some small minor things that I don't really like too much. But
sure.
Those are really nitpicky, and there's really only one instance where that's happened. I hope it doesn't happen continually. If it does, that would suck, but...
Well, also because of your mistake in buying it twice, I'm playing it right now, too.
Yes. So I bought it on console because I didn't want to support the Epic Games Store, but I just couldn't. I couldn't. I'm too much of a PC man to play a console first-person game. I was like... It hurt my eyes. I don't know why. I think it was like the FOV or something. I don't know, but I just couldn't.
The FOVs I had to get used to, actually. Actually, now that you think about it. Now that I think
I don't
about
know
it.
if it's adjustable on console. I don't think it is.
don't
I
think it
know
is.
it is adjustable on PC.
I looked for it on console and I couldn't find it, but I just got used to it. No, it's an interesting game. It's space western-esque, which is why a lot of it reminds me of Firefly, to be honest.
Yeah, I see that. I don't feel. I feel like it's less a space western and more space industrial.
No. It really does feel like a space western because like there's these colonies and people that like don't align with the corporation and they're trying to make their own like way in
It's
life.
space western in format, but it's not space western. There's no western tone. Like there's no like space cowboys. It's all corporate owned. That's why I say space industrial, because it feels more like you're in a
Do you really
1800s.
not get that vibe? You don't
No, I get the format is space western, but I don't get the aesthetic space western
Well,
vibe.
probably not, because the idea of space western is it can have any aesthetic. That's the idea of the planets in usual space westerns. They represent different
gotcha.
towns and areas and locations and levels of government control.
Yeah,
It's the same thing in what was it? What's that book you have to read in sophomore year of high school?
1981, 1984.
Did you really say 81?
I meant Fire 9/11. No, what is the Fahrenheit 4?
Fahrenheit 451.
That was the one that
1984, Brave New World, and
Tom and Jerry.
No, the one where they go on the river.
Oh, the Huckleberry Finn.
Huck Finn. Yeah, Huckleberry Finn. And that's
Yeah.
it's the same thing with Huckleberry Finn, kind of, where it's like they're on a raft going down the river, and just whenever they get off the river, represents a different part of society in a different place, and like all the people. And the idea there is like all the people are the same, kind of, because they go from place to place.
Yeah, I'm not disagreeing you on that front. When the genre, because space western is a genre, it's a subgenre of sci-fi.
Sure.
And whenever I see that implemented, there's always some kind of like spaghetti western influence, where in Firefly I know that there's an orange tint almost to a lot of the scenes and aesthetic, like you're in the desert. Just so and it even is like the opening scene and that's just stuff that I've assimilated. I haven't even seen the show. I know in Cowboy Bebop, which is a space western, there's the whole idea that they're bounty hunters, a very, very old western profession. And then in Vash the Stampede, no, not Vash the Stampede, he's a character in Trigun, another space western. It's
Sure.
Actually in the desert. It's more of a fantasy western. So when I say that I don't agree with you on the space western, it's not that I don't agree with the format. Like, it is a space western where everything you described is true, but at the same time, the aesthetic is not western at all. It is definitely a aesthetic of industrial era corporate ownership.
Do you know why it's called a spaghetti western?
Because the Italians made it. Because the
Yeah,
Italians
yeah.
made it.
I thought it was super interesting when I found that out.
I didn't know that, and I just thought it was like,
Well, it's actually, when you think about it, it's a racist term.
oh my god, yes.
That's so weird.
It's like calling like Japanese movies rice movies. Or like Asian movies,
We call them egg roll movies.
Ooh, yeah. It's so weird though. The more specific, the more racist.
Well, no,
it gets.
because it also like goes into the fact like spaghetti isn't really, it's Italian, but like not really. The same thing with egg rolls.
tortellini. It's a tortellini tortellini western.
No, it's like it's the same thing with egg rolls. It's like, yeah, it was probably made by Chinese people, but they were in America though when they did it. So
Sweet and sour cinema instead of Hong Kong
okay, we're
cinema.
done. We're done. We're not getting into this.
Anyway, how have you liked The Outer Worlds? Because I love every little bit of it.
Okay, so here's my background, because let's make the audience interested in what we're saying with our own opinions and facts.
They're not already interested.
You have to get your audience introduced. Like, you have to like guide them through a path like of telling a story. You're weaving a tale.
I'm weaving a tale.
You're sewing a yarn.
Sewing a yarn.
You're sewing a yarn.
Is that an actual term?
No.
Okay, because this sounds incorrect.
But no, like so Obsidian made one of the games I played growing up, which was KOTOR 2, which was the Knights of the Old
yes.
Yeah, Knights of the Old Republic. Which
I can't believe I forgot about that one.
well, you didn't play it.
Well, yeah, but also didn't play the first 2 Fallouts.
Yeah, no one did.
That is a lie.
Yeah, I know. Just move on. But like it's a Star Wars game, and it's like kind of back and forth. You meet people along the way. It's an RPG, so like you're leveling yourself up in stats and buffs, and kind of making your own personalized character who's affecting the world and the galaxy, which is very similar to what's happening in Outer Worlds. So like that's kind of the same feeling you get here, and it has the same problem that I have with every RPG, where it's like you start out super weak, you have no idea what any of the mechanics do, what like how to use them, how to implement them, and what you want to like do. You're just like running through it and like kind of getting killed a lot.
Yeah,
but then like it hits that groove that like a lot of things like RPGs hit, where it's like like how you want to build your stats and how you want to progress and which characters you like to bring with you on your missions or whatever. And that's kind of where I'm at right now. And the progression is just really good.
Oh my god, yes. There's one thing that I don't like about it.
Mm-hmm.
So, I guess some game mechanics spoilers, if that
Sure.
is a thing. So so there's like 7. I believe there's 7 different stats.
Mm-hmm.
I guess stat types, I should say, and each of them has different sub skills. So, like for example, the stealth stat would have. I believe it has lockpicking, like sneaking, and it's got one more hacking.
Hacking, it's
hacking.
Yeah.
So my problem with that system is, the system is that until you get those skills to like level 50, you can't actually put them individually. What you can do is that you'll dump points in the sneak sort of area, and then it'll add one to every skill. So if I had every time you level up, you have like 10 points to spend, and you spend like you put 1 point in.
There's categories and subcategories. So you have combat. Yeah. So then in that subcategory, you have one-handed and two-handed combat, or melee, or whatever.
Yeah.
When you have to put it into the combat category itself before you can specifically go to subcategories and be like, I want this to be bigger than this, which really kind of just shows you that the leveling system progresses much farther into like specifying your character than like what you get in the first probably 10 hours of gameplay or whatever.
So my problem with that is that I feel like it doesn't let me specify exactly, like it sort of limits me. I get why they did it. It's very, very streamlined, and if you're not into like Western RPGs, this probably thing is a lifesaver because there's a lot of skills, but I just disagree with some of the skill placement. Like, for example, hacking shouldn't be in stealth. I get why it's there, but hacking is more of a it's more of a,
you'd say technical, right?
Technical skill,
which they don't really have.
Well, they haven't. They have mechanics.
They have mechanics, but
they have tech.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. And same thing with lockpicking. Lockpicking always seemed like a more dexterous ability than a stealth ability. Like, you can lockpick and be really loud about it and be really good, I guess.
See, this is where your dungeon master's coming out, because you DM a lot.
Yeah, I play Dungeons and Dragons and many other tabletop role-playing games. And I just wish that I wouldn't, instead of giving 1 point to all 3 of those, I wish I could just give like 3 points to one of them, So
you think like they should break it up more?
Well,
no, it's like
it's a good system. This is super nitpicky.
It is.
I wish I had my own freedom. Maybe they could have an option where it's like easy skill select.
Okay, so the thing is though, it must be like for a leveling kind of thing, where it's like they want you to be at a certain level, so especially at the start in those first hours of gameplay, so that you didn't just throw away points into something and not be able to get out of a situation that you got yourself into.
Yeah, but that's the fun part.
Yeah, that's true.
That's the fun part of Obsidian RPGs, is that if worst case scenario, you just start gunning.
And that's true. I mean, I had the kind of similar thing, because when I played KOTOR 2, I played as not a sentry, whatever like the most like force-based character is.
Yeah.
And you're super disadvantaged at the start.
Mm-hmm.
Because you have no force powers. and you have no attack power, so you're just relying on like using meds and like your companions to kill off everyone for you. And then like after like I want to say like after like half the game, you get to the point where like you walk into the room and like you're the only character that matters. All your companions suck compared to you. You can just like hit a button and everyone in the room just falls over.
Yeah.
Which is like the coolest thing. It's the coolest progression like there is. Because you get to the end of the game and you walk into a room and you just tap the same button for the same attack and everyone falls over. No one can resist like your attack or can like resist your force powers or whatever.
Okay.
And it's great. It's really good. And then you get to the boss fight, and boss fights are terrible for that.
Yeah. Yeah, every game's got its hitch.
But no, I'm curious to see like what you think of the game after you pass that mark, after you reach like level 15 or whatever.
I'm already past level 15.
Really?
I think I actually reached level 15. The mark is out of... Actually, I would say that the part that I got my groove is halfway through the beginning area.
That's what happened to me too.
In the Emerald Vale. And
That's
then
the
all of a
exact
sudden
thing
it just
happened to me.
went like... It clicked. I actually didn't I didn't know you could take 2 companions, because some games you can only take 1, other games you
Yeah.
can take 2, and so I had I guess we'll get into some spoilers for the very beginning of the game.
Sure.
We won't talk too much about outside of Emerald Vale, but I didn't know you could take 2 companions, so I walked around with Parvati and I just sent Vicar Max to the ship where he stayed for like the entire time.
No, actually that gets into something. What do you think of the characters so far?
Oh, there's not a character I don't like. There's
So,
not
yeah.
a companion I do not
Let's
like.
not get too far into it, but like those first 2 then. Let's say, so you get to Terra 2, you land on Terra 2, because you get liberated by a mad scientist who,
Called Phineas and Ferb.
nope, not his name.
I do feel like that was a bit intentional, though.
What,
Come
that they
on.
called him Phineas?
Yeah.
I
I feel like Phineas is a mad scientist name.
It's a prophet name from Greek mythology.
Oh, whoa. 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 Oh, I'm in college.
I am in college. I like it. It's nice. I know things. But no, it's so you land on this place and there's like, it's called Terra 2, and it's like kind of this, there's a couple cities and like an industrial water plant where the power is coming from, and you go to this one city and everything's run by the corporation, Space Corp.
No, Spacer's Choice.
Spacer's Choice. Which
mean,
I love.
Space Corp.
Yeah,
I
it's
get
Space Corp. It's Evil Space Corp or whatever.
Evil Space Corp.
Yeah, it's you.
Well, there's more than one Evil Space Corp.
It's Evil Space Corp 1. Like you could give it any name, it doesn't matter. And like there's like a lot of irony in the game because like it's like these corporations have these slogans or whatever, but like they don't even think about like what it really means. It's like it's not the best choice, it's Spacer's Choice.
Yeah,
which is their main
that's
slogan.
A brilliant one. That is a brilliant one.
Because it's the idea of like it's so up itself that it doesn't even realize that it's saying like the dumbest thing.
Did you know that every time you enter in a data set that is like corporate owned, there's a slogan in it?
Yeah.
And I think they're almost always different.
Yeah.
So there's so many slogans. There's so much attention to detail.
They have a lot of things. Anyway, but you get to that first town and you meet like the head of that town, and he has like a quest for you, whatever, and he gives you the engineering chick who's Parvati.
Parvati.
And he gives you Parvati, and she's like super like quiet and kind of like meek and whatever, but she's like, I want to help the people, and it's like that's a great character, and I love that.
Yeah, 100%.
And which is super different from Vicar Max, who's a preacher in the town,
and sort of an asshole. Do you have him around when he interjects in conversations? Did you ever get any of those?
I got something where he's like, we're walking to the gravesite, and him and Parvati start talking about like the graves and whatever. Which is super interesting and cool because like you get a lot of character development from them by just having the characters in your party interact with each other.
If you talk to them shortly after they say that, you can ask them about what they said.
Well, yeah, I know. Yeah, I did that. Like, I talked to Parvati, and she talked about like, yeah, my dad's buried here. My dad's buried here.
I feel like that's a very nice detailed
it's
touch.
A
Because a lot of times that's not there.
It's a lot of detail, and it's like super nice that like you have this idea like if I put certain combinations of people in my party and start walking around, at certain points they'll just start to communicate and like start to give me more information about themselves. Which is why I thought it was also super interesting, like how they then progress from that, and you get to know more and more about them the more areas you go and like the relationships that they had and form, and it's super interesting.
Vicar Max is such an such an asshole.
He's an interesting character.
No,
Because...
there's some bits where he's just like straight up insulting the person you talk to.
Oh, of course. Yeah, no.
It's sort of wonderful where it's
amazing.
Like, oh my gosh, but I love all of them. Honestly, the fact that there's a HK equivalent where it's sort of like a one-note robot character, but it's still pretty funny, you know?
I haven't unlocked him yet.
Oh my gosh, the voice actor that they got for him is wonderful.
I'm super curious. So yeah, you get 6 party members total.
You get them quick. You get 4 like outside.
You get 4 super quick, and I have 1 more, probably human or whatever, and then the robot, which is just sitting there. I need to fix it still. Sam is his name.
Yeah, Sam.
But yeah, no, it's super well done. It's just a super well done game.
I just want a couple more things I want to talk about because we've already spent like 20 minutes on this, and I don't want it to take up the whole podcast as much as I wish it could.
Yeah, let me get to my thing.
Yeah, I know, right?
I want to talk about me. I want to talk about my problems.
You can talk about your problems as soon as I'm done with this. So I just felt like, a lot of people are saying this is Fallout in space, but there's a couple of big differences.
Which are?
One,
I never played Fallout, so.
So we're looking at the Fallout games, and this also goes for Elder Scroll games because they use the same engine. Surprise, surprise, unsurprising.
Unreal.
If you know about, no, they don't use Unreal. They use the Bethesda creation engine.
Oh, I forgot about that.
Yeah, the thing that's like over a decade old. Yeah, it's terrible.
I thought they updated that. Didn't they like give that to players basically in Fallout 4?
No.
Really? I thought
that was the Creation Club.
Is that different? Like the base building crap that they did?
Oh, well, the base building crap is like not anywhere near.
Well, yeah, like they give you like the structures and whatever.
Yeah. Something similar to that. Anyway, this game, it feels sort of empty, which is weird. Like, so in Fallout, literally everything has like junk inside of it. Like if there's a refrigerator, it is going to be openable and you can store items in there, which mechanically doesn't do much because a lot of times there's just nothing in there. So you spend like, you walk into an abandoned house and then you spend 10 minutes pressing E when you walk around in a kitchen trying to open all the cabinets and see what all the junk in there. And most of the time there's absolutely nothing of interest. But at the same time, that also made it feel, I guess, more realistic. To the point where
you had the option.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I get why they removed it, and ultimately I think it's a good decision, but still when I walk into like an abandoned house now and I see like a shelving unit and I'm not able to access it, just a little thing happens in my brain, you know? Just a little thing.
Do you think though that was like an active decision or that was a time thing? Or
I feel
both?
like that was an active decision.
Where they're like, we're not going to have every
Because they
house.
even copied the crosshairs from Fallout.
Really?
You know how the crosshairs are like the normal T, and when you go over someone, they become a square? That's a Fallout thing.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, that is a Fallout thing. That's a thing from Fallout 4, and I believe New Vegas.
I know. I kind of respect it because it's like you have this kind of open world and all these planets you can go to. I don't need to be able to go into every house. And pick apart
definitely.
Everything.
Definitely. That's why I said overall it's a good decision. But still, I don't know. There's something that makes it does make the Fallout world more rich. The fact that like that closet,
that's true.
You could stuff it
That's
with
true.
like guns and stuff.
I mean, I think like counterpoint to that though is that they have side quests, which are like the main idea is this is like the map to exploring the rest of the terrain that you otherwise wouldn't have to go to, and that's the thing that really fleshes out the world for me.
Oh yeah, definitely. It's a very small thing, but at the same time, I just it's so noticeable that I can't not notice it essentially.
Sure.
As someone who played a lot of Fallout New Vegas, I've actually never finished it. I've played it so many times, I've never finished Fallout New Vegas. Like the Hoover Dam fight, I've just never gotten to it. I always get to a point where my character's like, yeah, my character would probably just live out his life in this point right now.
Wow.
And then I restart.
Jeez.
Anyway, my last thing is, and this is a super nitpicky. So in Bethesda games with that one engine, you can pick up junk and there'll be physics objects. So like there's a thing in Skyrim where if you like pick up a bucket and put it on a shopkeeper's head, you can steal all their stuff.
Yeah, you can, because they're blinded technically,
Yeah.
and you can just steal without them seeing.
Yeah, you can't do that, which is like I get why 100%, but at the same time, Like there's no greater joy than like picking up a can and then like throwing it at an NPC you don't like in Fallout. It's
I don't
sort
know.
of fun.
I don't need that level of detail in my games.
Well, yeah, and also this serves no purpose.
Oh no, it serves absolutely
It
none.
serves absolutely no purpose.
Except to
and
mess, just like mess with the barrier between like the physics and the mechanics and then the AI capabilities.
Yeah, but it's still like I don't know. Some part of my brain is like, hoo, pick up Ken,
No,
throw
like
it at
it's
Vicar
cool.
Max.
It's
You
cool.
know,
It's really cool.
it's a fun little thing, but it serves no purpose, and so that's why I would never like dock them.
Mm-hmm.
I'd never be like, oh well, I would like the game better. I would like the game more, but it's so insignificant that it's no problem. Anyway, Outer Worlds, good game, buy it. I would say I'm halfway through it right now.
Probably a third of the way through.
You're pushing halfway.
Am I?
Yeah, definitely.
Okay.
So,
Okay.
so good game. Very good game. Anything else you do this week? Because that was my week.
No, not really. Except Terminator.
Oh, yeah. Did you watch it?
I didn't watch the new one, which is why I'm going to talk about the old ones.
Mm.
I'm going to go 1 through 4, whatever that means.
You watched 1 through 4?
I've seen 1 through 4.
Okay.
I haven't seen 5.
I've seen 1 and 2.
You haven't seen 3?
No.
Okay.
I have no intention to. See, all right, real quick, I have a thing where if I feel like that's where a series should end, I will just watch where I feel like the series should end and then not watch
that's
the rest.
fine. You're allowed to do that. I think it's just super amazing how they mess it up every time, though. After 2.
After 2.
Okay, so here I'll give background around Terminator because that's what you do about Terminator. God damn. Anyway, so Terminator was made by James Cameron in 1984.
Oh, there's a book about that year.
Yeah, there is. It was made on the super cheap, and it has a really interesting production history around it. And yet they had no money, and they're just kind of filming in places they probably shouldn't have been filming.
Guerrilla filmmaking.
It was guerrilla filmmaking, which he learned from his mentor and like the production studio he used to work for. If you don't know James Cameron, he's the guy that did Avatar, the Blue Monkey ones, and he did Titanic, which for the longest time sat as like the top 2 highest grossing films of all time.
One of which had made no cultural impact.
Yeah, it's true. Avatar made no cultural impact. Anyway,
that was a setup. You're gonna say Titanic.
No, Titanic made a cultural impact. I'm not even gonna argue that.
Well, it was a joke. Okay. Anyway,
the cultural impact was, can you fit 2 people on a door?
yeah, there was a Mythbusters episode about that.
It's a big cultural impact. No, so yeah, it was. So this is like his big break movie, kind of. Where it's like he got him on the map of like, I'm one of the big directors. And Terminator 1 has a super interesting history behind it because it's Arnold Schwarzenegger and Linda Hamilton and the other guy that got caught with heroin or something.
Rip.
Yeah.
He looks like he's on heroin in that movie.
Well, I actually think that's a good look for him because he's meant. Okay, so.
Well, yeah. It matches his character.
It matches his character because he's meant from the future. And okay, so Terminator 1 is about Sarah Connor.
Mm-hmm.
And she's a waitress and she lives on the cheap with a roommate.
Mm-hmm.
And she's just trying to find a man.
Oh, she's halfway there.
No. And then this burst of light happens and something shows up and it starts killing people named Sarah Connor.
Uh-huh.
And then another burst of light happens and a guy shows up.
A hunk.
And the Terminator is a hunk. And there's another burst of light and a guy shows up and he steals a hobo's pants. And then it turns out like, oh, one of the things sent back was a machine, a cyborg,
Mm-hmm.
Meant to kill Sarah Connor, because she's the mother of the resistance leader in the future that ends up stopping the machines from taking over in this post-apocalyptic world. And like the machines knew that the mother of this savior was named Sarah Connor, so the machine literally went to a phone book. That's a funny thing though. They go to phone books in this movie.
Because the apocalypse happens before phone books are becoming irrelevant.
Exactly.
So that means if Skynet happens, now they're fucked.
Dude, my favorite part, I think Judgment Day is supposed to be in 1997, which is what they call like the apocalypse, where like the nukes go off and it kills all the humans.
No, I thought the apocalypse happens at the end of Terminator 3.
We'll get to it.
Okay.
We'll get to it.
Terminator cast.
So yeah, and there's this whole like it's a sci-fi slasher. It's not that scary, but it's like it has a lot of the kind of drawings of a slasher movie. It's this guy,
unstoppable killer,
protecting this girl, and there's an unstoppable killer after them.
Mm-hmm.
And like it doesn't stop; it'll just keep on going. There's this whole scene where like he breaks down. It doesn't eat, it doesn't sleep, it has no remorse. It won't quit until it kills you. It's only program mission because you could
say
it's a Terminator.
No, it'll be back.
We'll get to that. So yeah, and there's this kind of back and forth, and like there's like it gives kind of like plausible deniability to a lot of things. To like, why didn't you bring any like future weapons to stop it? Like, because they don't have any future weapons.
Yeah, I know.
And like the thing is like, oh, you can time travel backwards, but you can only time travel backwards. You can't bring anything with you. Literally, you show up naked. In the past.
It's like inorganic material.
Yeah, so which means like the Terminator itself is has a metal endoskeleton and then like living tissue around that.
Which is a very good excuse for not having to have a robot costume and
it's really good. That's another thing. The first movie, there's a puppetry kind of scene.
Ooh.
It's like I think it's puppetry or maybe stop motion or something.
Yeah.
Where it's like they made Arnold Schwarzenegger's head. And like he's moving around, and like you're supposed to see like, oh, he's got the glowing red eye underneath, which is why he wears glasses.
Yeah.
And it's like sunglasses for the rest of the movie, and it looks real bad. Like it's real stiff and rigid. Then again, the movie was made for like no money, so I
know, yeah. It certainly looks like an 80s movie.
It is very much
no
an
budget.
80s movies. They filmed using blue light to make it look better, like all the time. They made a fake club.
That club was fake?
Yeah, they made a fake club, and while they were filming it, they had people come by and ask if they could come in the club because they thought it was a real club.
Nice. I didn't know that was fake.
Yeah, they put acid.
Well, that's where all their money went.
Yeah, let's put it into that club. They put acid on Arnold Schwarzenegger to make like the smoke come off of him. But apparently it was like kind of damaging, like not good.
Oh yeah. All right, Mr. Schwarzenegger. Yeah, we're just gonna put this acid on
this
you.
This is like an era before like health and safety stuff like were as big of things. They burn his eyebrows off, Arnold Schwarzenegger. So there's a period in the movie where like he just doesn't have eyebrows, and it's super weird like to look at.
God,
it's a weird movie.
Good movie.
Anyway, so Kyle Reese is the guy that came back to save Sarah Connor, and they end up like having sex, and turns out Kyle Reese is the father of John Connor. And so John Connor's technically a paradox. Then Kyle Reese dies, and she kills the Terminator in a printing
factory.
It's a printing press factory or something.
Yeah, it's a smashing factory.
It's
where
a smashing
they smash
factory
things.
Where it smashes it. It smashes it.
It's a danger factory.
They smashed the Terminator.
Yeah.
They smashed it.
They use a hydraulic press to crush him.
That's stop motion actually. Now that I remember it, at the end.
Yeah,
because
that's not too bad.
It's not too bad, but at the very end, like all of his skin has come off, and it's just the endoskeleton.
Yeah, which is actually sort of terrifying.
It's really terrifying, actually, especially when you first see it. And no, it's really cool. And it ends with, so it's the iconic thing about Terminator is a couple lines what they have, which is "I'll be back," which is first said by the Terminator when he goes
sort of a throwaway.
It's a throwaway line. It's a nothing line. It's a lot of the lines that are iconic now are throwaway lines. So he's like, "I'll be back," because he goes to the police station where Sarah Connor is being held because they think Kyle Reese is like a crazy guy.
Yeah.
And like people are killing Sarah Connor, so they are taking care of Sarah Connor. So the Terminator leaves and then takes a car and runs it through the reception desk. Like, and it's like, and he's like, "Yeah, he's back."
I'm back.
Yeah. The "Come with me if you want to live" line. It's a very nothing line in the movie, but they've used it in every movie since.
Oh, it's famous.
It's famous. It's a
line.
famous like cinematic line now. Like, everyone like knows.
It's like get to the chopper.
Yeah, get to the chopper. Apparently, that's something Arnold does. Like in real life, he'll quote himself from like movies he's been in.
I would quote myself from movies I've been in, bro. Are you kidding me? That's badass.
Probably the best trivia about this movie, though, is that O.J. Simpson was up for the role of the Terminator. Do you know about this?
No.
O.J. Simpson was up for the role of the Terminator. He's like, he went to James Cameron. He's like, "I want to play this thing," or whatever. Like casting was going around, and Cameron said, I would have done it, but I didn't view him as a killer. He didn't seem like a killer to me.
Damn. And so OJ was like, "No, I gotta kill so I can get this role." And then he stopped because they never found his wife's killer.
Listen, stop.
Yeah, he's still out there.
Yeah.
His wife, OJ's wife killer, still out there.
So yeah, Terminator 1, like, it's kind of slow. There's some parts that aren't great, but like it's a good movie and still holds up really well. And yeah, no, it's great. So Terminator 2, which is the best Terminator movie, came after that.
Yes.
So, what do you
Very
know about?
close.
What is your relationship with Terminator 2?
I saw it on AMC.
Like
Years ago.
the cable network.
Yeah, years ago.
What'd you think?
I thought it was fucking awesome.
It's an amazing movie.
It was so cool.
Do you cry at the end?
A little bit.
I tear up at the end every time.
I tear up because it's like, he won't be back.
He won't be back. He
No.
won't be back. No, so Terminator 2 comes out and it blows.
Hasta la vista, baby.
Yeah, it blows everyone's mind because it's Terminator 1, except Arnold is the good guy now. He's still a Terminator, but he's reprogrammed, and there's a new Terminator. It's the T-1000, and Arnold's like the T-800.
800.
It's the T-800, the 101 model. I don't know that because I just watched the thing. I'm not a nerd. So it's like this. The T-1000 is this liquid metal Terminator that can take like any shape. He can disguise himself as like the wall or the floor, and he can make like knives out of his hands and stuff. And he can replicate people and look like them, which is really cool because there's a lot of like twin scenes, where like they get actors who have twins to like portray the same person. Like when
the famous one is when Sarah Connor is working on the Terminator's brain.
Those aren't twins though. Actually, no, one of them is because Linda Hamilton has a twin sister.
Yeah, that was the scene where it's like the mirror is it?
Yeah, there's a mirror scene, but it's not actually a mirror.
Yeah, it's Arnold on the other side of a wall.
Exactly, which usually like you don't really do that in movies as much.
Well, now you don't have to. You can just CG.
Well, no, the thing is though, usually when you see a mirror, you'll probably see a first person perspective now. Which is, if you actually think about this, it's super trippy. My best example is Don't Threaten Me with a Good Time, the music video from Panic at the Disco. It's all... I know you have problems with Panic at the Disco or whatever. But
No, it's fine. It's a good song.
It's a good song.
I was just like, I wasn't expecting it to go to the Panic at the Disco music video.
But no. It's a good example of this because if you see the opening shot of that, it's someone looking in a mirror and from a first-person perspective, and you're looking at Brendan Urie, who's playing whatever guy or whatever. But when you think about it, like from a filming standpoint, it's not a mirror. It's just they made the same set, front and back, so that you could have that first person view. It's really trippy when you think about like the techniques people use to film like crap.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. So Terminator 2 is like an action-packed movie. It's total action. There's like helicopter chases and motorcycles and things blow up.
Arnold actually got in front of a semi-truck and shot a shotgun into it.
Didn't.
No, yeah, they did.
Did he?
That was a real stunt.
Oh, yeah. No, that's a practical stunt. Like, this is 1993, I think this movie came out.
Yeah, so there was health and safety stuff, but it
was before, like, people had, like, fully embraced CGI.
Oh, yeah.
Even though there's actually a lot of CGI in this movie.
No, they got an actual T-1000.
No, they didn't. Which is really cool because it's liquid metal, so like when it's shape changing and it has like this kind of silver mercury look where like it's reflective surface, which you think is super impressive, but really that's the standard for making photorealistic visual effects is have a reflective surface.
That's why a lot of bad CGI just looks like it's so shiny.
Well, yeah, because that's the thing though. A lot of things that people don't do now in CGI is they don't take like 3D HDR photos of their environment, so they don't have accurate light references, which is something they really put a lot of work into for this movie and like making sure everything like lit off of the reflective surface well.
Also, I really like the scenes. I always thought it was so badass, and there's one I very remember when the T-1000 gets shot. I believe it's the grenade launcher, and it's got the giant hole in its body, and it's like a curved C.
Yeah,
and the dude's got his arm sticking out.
Well, the thing about that though is it's also in this era where when you have James Cameron at the helm and you have all these like people working for you and be like, let's make this the best thing we can make it. It was a mixture of CGI for like the stuff they couldn't like replicate, but for all those shots where it's like it gets cut in half and like its body is like
Yeah.
flayed and like it's
A
one
lot of
side's
it's
going.
also practical.
It's practical.
So.
There's like hundreds of practical models of Robert Patrick, who played the T-1000, where it's like
Amazing.
he has
career.
holes here and here and here, and like his head's blown in half or whatever.
Yeah.
And those are practical models, and it's like there's so much effort and work that went into that specifically, like in time. The thing though, it's really funny. The only thing computers couldn't render for the T-1000 is it reflecting off of itself.
Yeah.
Which it doesn't take away from any of it, but it's like really cool if like you're looking out for it, be like, wow, that's really amazing that they did this.
I know, yeah. It is a technical marvel for the 90s.
Yeah.
Just like how the one kid plugged in his, like, calculator and made the ATM machine just spit out money and a dirt bike.
That's an interesting scene where he's just like, there's some weird exposition in it where it's like, hey, where'd you learn to do this? Well, my mom hung around with some green berets and this hacker guy one time, and I learned how to hack ATMs. I'm like, what the hell? What? Also, Edward Furlong is the most 90s kid that ever lived.
It's awesome.
It's
awesome. The 90s is like, I feel like the peak of every generation is so cool. I mean, not every generation, every decade is so, like, just unironically cool. Like, God.
Yeah.
He rides a dirt bike. Oh!
God, he rides a dirt bike. It's making that noise the entire time.
Yeah.
The ring, 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 ring. God, what the 90s, man.
Yeah, there's some great cinema
in there. Great action. There's a minigun. He uses a minigun.
Yeah, the famous minigun.
The famous minigun. And like there's a scene where like John Connor is teaching him how to be a human or whatever. He's like, don't say negative. Say no problemo.
Yeah.
and he's
say
like,
hasta la vista, baby.
Where he says, yeah, he says, and then you're like, he like tells him, and you can mix and match and make your own things.
Yeah.
And he's like, oh, okay, no problemo, dirtbag or whatever. It's
yeah.
Like whatever it is.
Dirtbag.
And it's like it's really sad because throughout the movie the main idea is there's two kind of main ideas. One of them is that there is no destiny, there's no fate. Like the literal line is there's no fate but what we make,
which is completely continued into
We'll get to it. And it's like about like you make your own path in life, you make your own kind of route, you find your own way. People can tell you what you're going to be, but you ultimately decide what you're going to be, which is a great message. And it's also the message of relationships and how you can find relationships in the weirdest and strangest of places, which is the whole thing with the Terminator. Because there's a moment where Sarah Connor, the mom, is like, I see now my son John is making friends with a Terminator, a killing machine, but he would probably be the best father figure this kid could ever have because he'll never hurt him. He'll never get drunk and disappoint him. He'll never let him down. He's always going to be there for him.
Mm-hmm.
Which is like, it's an amazing sentiment.
Can love bloom on a battlefield?
It can. Which is like what makes it so sad because at the ending, they kill the T-1000 by
lava. Minecraft lava.
It's so weird. They ended up in a steel plant.
Well, like after the people who made the crushing factory, after the T-1000 went in there and broke all their, the T-800 broke all their stuff, they're like, well, shoot, we got to go into the lava making business.
Because it's this weird chase scene that just ends somehow in a steel plant, and then they managed to like sink the T-1000.
I love just random industrial areas
so
in action
weird.
movies.
It's
so much
weird.
fun. It's like the warehouse district where like there's just abandoned warehouses.
So
like that.
weird.
It's movie conveniences.
The thing is that you don't question it when you're watching it. You're like, this makes sense.
Of course. My granddad's uncle used to work in a lava factory.
Of course, there was like just a tanker full of liquid nitrogen.
Yeah. Oh, it makes sense. There's just a big old cauldron of molten metal. It's like, of course. What else are you supposed to do with molten metal? Put it into a big pot.
And so the ending is, after like all this kind of sentiment grows between Arnold and Edward Furlong, the actors. When the actors got to know each other.
Yeah.
They're like, yeah, we have to kill the T-800 now because we can't have any like
evidence.
You can't have any
because
chance.
The problem that was with Skynet is because
Skynet's the computer.
Yeah, it was being built because the arm and so in the Terminator 1, it's like reaching out and its arm breaks off.
So
and they
like
have
the story for
arm.
Terminator 2 is like there's this company that finds the arm of the Terminator from Terminator 1 and like a piece of its brain chip, and that's like the basis then for what Skynet becomes. So their thing is like they stole that, they threw it into lava, and they're like there's one chip left that we can't let exist anymore, and it's the chip from Arnold, the one that was sent back to protect John Connor. And at the very end, they put him on a chain, and they're like, and he's like, you have to hit the button. Like I can't
reach it from here.
No, my arm's not long enough, and my other arm's cut off.
Go gadget extendo arm.
My other arm's cut off, and but no, it's like I can't self-terminate. So like you have to hit the button because I can't kill myself. So it's like either he's forcing them to kill him. And at the very end, he's going into lava, and the last thing you see is his hand go up, and he gives a thumbs up as his body's just like burning.
Yeah, I know.
It's so sad. I love it. It's so sad. So now that, and it's an amazing movie, and it's like a 10 out of 10 movie. Like it's iconic.
Yes.
It's just iconic.
Yeah.
And now that we've gone through the good Terminator movies, let's talk about the bad Terminator movies.
Okay.
You've never seen Terminator 3.
No, I refuse.
But apparently you know about the ending.
Yes, I do.
So the ending of Terminator 3 is that the world gets nuked. Which contradicts kind of the message of Terminator 2.
Yeah.
Which is that you can prevent the not the Holocaust.
Nuclear.
You can prevent the nuclear Holocaust, and you can like stop this horrible thing from happening. It's actually a pretty good metaphor for global warming, now that I think about it.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, any disaster flick nowadays is a metaphor for global warming.
Yeah, but it's like this idea of like, if you choose the right path, you can
alter the future.
You can alter the future. You can alter the impending doom. And Terminator 3 is just like, screw it. Judgment Day is, you can't stop it. You can't like, it's an event in the history. It's like a point where that you can happen, and it will always happen. You can halt it, you can push it aside for a little bit longer, but you can't stop it.
And the TX is a rockin' babe.
Okay, so in Terminator 3, they introduce a new Terminator because apparently what the message was from Terminator 2, every time you make a new Terminator movie, you have to make a new
Terminator.
New type of Terminator. And they actually make two different types of Terminators in Terminator 3.
Really? I didn't know that.
Arnold comes back for the third movie.
Because they just keep pumping out those T-800s.
Well, you know what happened? He asked James Cameron, like, because
James Cameron directed the third one?
He didn't.
That's what I thought.
No, they had the property. Whatever studio had that property. And they went to Arnold like, hey, do you want to do this thing again? Like, please do it, because they want Arnold. And they wanted Linda Hamilton too, and they're like,
yeah, they just said that she died.
They just said, yeah, that's what happened. They said that she dies like halfway through the movie, and they gave her the script, and she's like, I'm not going to do it because you treat my character with no respect. So in the movie, she's just been dead
of cancer.
You have seen parts of this movie, apparently.
I've like caught it on FX.
You've caught it, yeah, exactly.
Like a long time ago.
But the thing is, though, Arnold then, because they were like, we're going to throw this much money at you. And Arnold's like, I don't know, maybe the legacy's not meant to be, like, maybe I shouldn't do it. So he goes to James Cameron. James Cameron's like, do it, but ask for this much money and this many perks. You have to pay for this and this and this.
Make it worth your while.
They paid him so much money for that. I don't remember how much. But it's a ton of money.
I like that idea of like Arnold's being like, man, I don't know if I should do this, and James Cameron just grabbing him by the shoulders and trying to shake him, being like, think of the money.
That's basically it. Yeah, good job.
Shut up. I edit all of this.
I know you do.
Continue.
So it's your problem. But no, like, so it's the idea is that Arnold is the T-850, which is slightly advanced, I guess. The only conceit is that he has hydrogen. He has like a
hydrogen. I know, because he blows himself.
He has like two hydrogen kind of power systems, like nuclear powered systems. And one of them they're driving by, and he's like, one of them's damaged, and he cuts open his stomach, pulls one of them out, throws it out the window, and then like a small nuclear bomb goes off and it like shoves the car, and he's just like, yeah, we're good. And the only conceit of that is that for
I'm shaking my head.
No,
right
no.
now.
The only conceit of that is that for the last, it's so that for when they kill the TX at the very end, he can like use a hydrogen bomb basically to do it. So what happens is he takes out his last like power source and he like shoves it up down his mouth or whatever, and he's like holding on to it. He's like,
By the way, apparently the TX is like the combination of the T1000 and the T800, which makes no sense.
No. So the idea was like they wanted to make the best of both worlds.
But
no, I'll get to it. Where it's like, what if? So their idea for the new, better Terminator that makes Arnold look obsolete is that it's
a rockin' babe.
It's a rockin' babe. It's some model. I forget the actress's name. Who has the liquid metal over top of an endoskeleton,
which that completely ruins the.
Like
there's no organic matter there.
There's no organic matter in the second one either. It's and there actually was going to be a scene where in the second Terminator, the T1000 would show up and he'd be surrounded by a flesh
ball.
He'd be surrounded by a
flesh ball. Was so cool. Flesh ball would be so cool.
They never did it though. So apparently, just after Terminator 1, they're just like, yeah, no, anything can go through. It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
The rules don't matter. They're setups for fun movies, like kind of interesting horror maybe, or
there's like so many essays about how time travel rules in movies don't matter.
It doesn't matter. You don't think about it. It does not matter.
Don't think about it. Yeah, exactly. Hold a gun to your head. Don't think about it.
And then but like the conceit is like, oh, she's the liquid metal and she's the endoskeleton, but also she has like weapons that come out of her arm. So she has like a plasma cannon or something in her arm. It's too much.
Nanomachines.
It's too much. It's not fun at that point. There is actually some interesting things in this movie though. There's an action scene where they put I want to say a crane.
Like the animal?
No, like a crane through a building.
Oh, damn.
Yeah, and Arnold paid for it. Because they're like, we can just do it like CGI, like maybe we don't put it in the movie. He's like, no, we should do it. We should like make it look good. It doesn't look good.
I feel like, wasn't there like an actor who like fell down a waterfall to make it be more realistic, and then when he was talked about how good it was, this might just be like some story, but I swear I read somewhere that it was some actor who was doing an action scene where he fell off a waterfall. They were gonna just throw a dummy down there, but he's like, "Nah, I'll do it. It'll look more realistic." And so when he did it, he like broke a bone, and he was like asking how it looked, and they were like, "Yeah, it looked like a dummy fell off a waterfall."
Well, it's like Tom Cruise. He's doing all of his own stunts.
Yeah, but there's a difference when you're like hanging off of a helicopter
and jumping off a waterfall.
Yeah.
Is there much of a difference there?
Yeah, it's called not falling because you're hanging off of a helicopter.
Yeah, okay.
There's a big difference.
Where was I going with this? I don't know. It's a
Terminator 3.
It's a parody. People have called it like this, but it's a parody of Terminator movies. When Arnold shows up at the start, he shows up at a strip club instead of like a rough and tumble bar. Yeah, because it's like
you can't see my face, but it's like I'm having the 1,000-yard stare right now.
And instead of stealing clothes from like a big burly biker guy, he steals clothes from a male stripper. Yeah, no, it's not good. There's a deleted scene where it's like they found the model, like the template for the T800s.
Yeah.
Who's like a living dude, like an actual and his name's like Sergeant William Candy or something. And he has a weird accent, like a weird, like, effeminate accent or something. And, like, I like the design, but can we change the accent? Yeah, it's a parody. It's a parody of movies.
Making me mad. Stop talking about it.
No, let's keep on going.
No, stop talking about Terminator 3.
No, let's keep on going. I do...
Oh, wait. No, not Terminator 4.
Well, the Terminator 4 is the last one I'm going to talk about. But actually... I do want to say I do respect certain things in Terminator 3.
Well, yeah, apparently they just threw a crane through a house. Like, that's respectable.
Some of the ideas are good. Some of the things are actually funny. They go to Sarah Connor's grave, and like Terminator shows up and like just bursts through the grave. Like, because it's like on the one of those ones in the wall or whatever.
Yeah, it's a mausoleum.
So he bursts through and takes out the coffin.
Yeah.
And John Connor's like, what the hell are you doing? Like, oh my God.
Yeah.
And he's like, Sarah Connor isn't here. She was cremated, and like her ashes were spread in the ocean. And then he opens up the coffin, and it's just full of guns.
That is funny.
It's
I do
pretty
like
good.
sudden guns. Like the one best joke in Sharknado 2 is when they're like, there's this big speech about like New Yorkers will be able to defeat the Sharknado, and then there's a scene where a dude like opens his trunk, throws out a rug, and there's just like shotguns and like machine guns in his trunk, and I'm just like, ah, yes.
But to me, that's not even a good joke because New Yorkers don't have guns.
Well, it's just sudden guns. It's just
Well,
sudden
no,
guns.
it's sudden guns. It's sudden guns.
Sudden armories is funny.
I do also respect the thing in Terminator 3 where he's like, for the entire time he's telling him, I'm not here to like prevent Skynet from becoming active. I'm just here to save you and your future wife. That's it. Like, that's always there for.
Yeah.
And then he lies to them. And he's like, yeah, no, like he brings them to like
Yeah, the safe location.
the safe location where like they think, oh, this is where we're going to find the mainframe or whatever to shut down Skynet. And it's literally just like
a bunker.
It's like a bunker. It's a nuke bunker. And like the ending narration is like, yeah, the Terminator lied to us to save us because he knew there's no other way. And then as this like the narration's going on, the nukes are just hitting like places on the Earth, and it's like, holy crap, that's dark. Like, that's
Yeah, it's a dark
ending for
but
a
it's
Terminator.
also a shitty ending for a Terminator movie.
It's a crappy ending for a Terminator movie. I respect it that they went there though.
Yeah, it's like, congratulations. It's like you threatened to shoot your hand and you actually did it. Like, that's sort of badass, but at the same time, you shot your hand, dumb fuck.
Also, I saw this when I was 10, so that was like a really weird ending for me.
Oh my god, yeah. You're like, why aren't the good guys winning?
Yeah, that's exactly it. It was like, and then, but like, I'm also like 10 or 12 or whatever I am, and I'm like, but this could actually happen in the real world. Like, nukes are everywhere. Like, oh god. It's a weird thing as a kid to watch.
Yeah.
And yeah, no, it's not a good movie, but like,
Speaking of not good movies, Terminator 4.
Terminator Salvation. So let's get to the fact that every time they've made a Terminator since Terminator 2, they've just been trying to revamp the Terminator series because they kept on like kind of, Terminator 3 did okay, but like the critical reception was terrible. So like, what can we do to like bring people back in it? So then they hire Christian Bale, who played Batman, and they do a Terminator movie with no time travel. They set it in the distant future where people are fighting Terminators, and you see some, again, like there's interesting things there. There's super interesting things there, because the main Terminator in the movie is a guy who's a Terminator, but who had his conscious downloaded from when he was a real person, so he has the same consciousness of when he was alive, like as a prisoner, and he doesn't know he's a Terminator. It's super interesting. You're shaking your head, but I think it's an interesting idea.
I'm trying to wrap my mind around it. Seems very confusing.
Yeah, kind of is.
Maybe that will be a reason. Okay.
Not really. It's not.
I must not be getting it. Whatever.
No, and then
I'll have to watch it to find out.
And then he runs into Kyle Reese. He runs into Kyle Reese.
Isn't Kyle Reese like a bad guy in this movie?
No.
Oh,
Kyle
I
Reese
thought
is
there was a movie where like Kyle Reese is a Terminator the whole time.
Listen, there's I haven't seen Genesis, but I know the twist in Genesis, and it's something along those lines.
Oh, okay. Maybe I'm thinking of Genesis.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry,
You are thinking of Genesis. I know you're thinking of Genesis,
movie.
which I actually haven't seen, so we'll get to it later. And like it's got interesting things. You see like a callback where they, you see the T-600, which is mentioned in the first Terminator, where he's like, yeah, the T-600 was made, but it's like rubber skin and like really easy to tell it was not a real person. And you see it, and it's literally just like a 9-foot tall thing with rubber skin and like Gatling guns connected to its arms or whatever. Like it's
oh yeah, that is really easy to tell.
It's not a human.
Hello, fellow humans.
Yeah, exactly. It's so weird. You see a walker. I don't know what it's actually called, but it's like
ATST.
No. Or it's like it's just a huge robot that just like mows down everything in sight. And that's pretty cool. I think that's a cool scene. They CGI Arnold Schwarzenegger, which is bad and weird. And there's like a weird heart transplant storyline, which is Yeah, because like
I know even less about this one.
No. So what happens is the new Terminator has like the brain and the heart of the original guy, but everything else is cybernetics
Okay.
and like artificial.
All right.
And he, in the very end, he overrides his programming to save John Connor, who the machines tricked into coming into the Skynet headquarters.
Okay.
So then he's trying to help John Connor fight a T-800 they sent out to kill him. And the T-800 punches the Terminator in the heart, like the good guy Terminator, and then he stabs John Connor through the heart. And so they have to do a surgery at the very end of the movie to save John Connor. So they give the heart they got punched out to John Connor, who just has a stabbed heart. No, it makes no sense. It makes no sense, and I love it. It's amazing. It's an amazing movie. Oh my god. So no, it's not a good movie. It's terrible. There's a scene where John Connor.
It's amazing. It's an amazing movie. No, it's not a good movie.
It's a terrible movie. I love it. I love it. So there's a weird scene where John Connor, because he's not actually the leader of the resistance in this movie. He has like a following, but there's like a military group that's the actual like.
What?
No, exactly. It's weird. They add like a weird like kind of twist mythology to it, where it's like, no, he's not the actual leader yet. Like we're not to the point where he's the leader of the resistance, and they start winning. So there's a scene where because the main military leaders are in a submarine under the ocean, just hiding, and no one knows about them. So there's a scene where John Connor's on a helicopter and he's going down to talk to him, and he's like, they're like, no, you can't come up. We can't compromise our position. He's like hell you can't, and he just jumps into the water
and he swims down to the submarine.
No, exactly. And the next scene is just him in the submarine, like soaking wet inside a submarine. Like, how'd you get there? Like, how did you get there? Like,
he swam.
I guess.
He held his breath.
Okay, that being said, like, this movie's crap, but there's one interesting thing about this movie that they could have done, which they planned on doing, but they didn't do. The thing that you actually might find this interesting. I think it's interesting.
I'm cocking my head like a dog.
Cocking your head a lot. The original idea was that the Terminator, John Doe or whatever his name is, that is the cybernetic half Terminator, half human. John Connor was gonna die, but they still had his body there, so they were gonna do surgery to make him the look like John Connor, and he was gonna be the actual leader of the resistance.
Okay.
It's interesting, right?
Yeah.
It's interesting. So that means that the eventual leader and stopper of Skynet came from Skynet.
Yeah, that's interesting. Except it sort of makes
using the history of John Connor up until that point as its background to be the new leader.
Oh, so it's like it doesn't know it's not John Connor.
No, it knows it's not John Connor, but it's like he's using his sway with the people for what he did in like that movie or whatever to be the new head of the resistance since the militia.
So you get to martyr John Connor and then also keep John Connor.
You get to martyr John Connor and keep John Connor, but he's only a martyr to the audience, not to like the people in the world.
Okay.
It's an interesting idea.
Yeah, it's an interesting idea. I don't like because it sort of screws with the first two.
Well, it doesn't really because like if you look at through it like that, it's like it's still the same idea. Like John Connor was like this war hero, whatever that people trusted and put their hope into, but like the one that eventually like led them to victory just used like the image of John Connor.
Yeah, it's a good
and
idea.
What still makes sense is like, oh, he still has to send people back in time to save John Connor because he needs that initial kind of like history of John Connor to like push that persona and military leader.
Yeah.
I think it's interesting, but they didn't do it.
Yeah, it is
They didn't do
interesting.
it. They didn't do it. So it's like, it's worthless.
Whew, that was a lot. That was like a half an hour out of World's, half an hour out of Terminator movies.
It was more than half an hour of Terminator.
Oh.
I can talk about Terminator forever. It's...
Wow, damn. Terminator is your JoJo's.
It's not actually. I take that back. Star Wars is my JoJo's.
Oh, okay.
I can talk about Star Wars for forever.
Do you even want to do news?
We can do news.
We can do news?
Yeah. I'm going to finish my Terminator stuff with news. Terminator Dark Fate.
Oh.
Made $29 million.
Oh, no!
For an opening box office weekend.
No! And they were pushing that hard. They pushed that so hard.
They pushed it really hard. They got James Cameron back on as a producer. They got the guy that did Deadpool, I think. They got the guy that did...
Tim Miller?
Tim Miller.
Oh,
and he was super amped and excited, but like apparently it's the response is just too diverse. Like it's mixed reviews. It's like the definition of mixed reviews.
Oh, okay.
Like leaning on the positive side. I don't know what the movie is.
We'll have to watch it then,
I guess. So I still haven't seen Terminator 5.
Apparently Terminator Genesis really sucks.
Yeah, exactly. So do you want to watch Terminator Genesis instead of Spider-Man?
Oh, that's your call. It's my punishment.
Ugh.
I don't want to watch either of them.
Let's watch Terminator Genesis.
Oh, no. Okay, Terminator Genesis as punishment. We're going to watch it for the podcast.
Yeah.
Fuck you.
Yeah, I know, right?
God damn.
So that's my news. You got news?
Yeah, I got some gamer news.
Okay, let's make it kind of quick, because I want.
Yeah, we're pushing past the hour.
Yeah, and I want a sandwich.
So, first things first.
Oh, BlizzCon happens.
Yeah, BlizzCon happened. We got Diablo 4 and Overwatch 2, as well as a Warcraft thing. But more importantly, apparently Diablo 4 is not going to have a offline single-player mode.
Wait, are you serious?
Yes, as well as the game will not be coming anytime soon, as according to this PC Gamer article that we are both looking at right now.
So it's literally just like an announcement of, we're making it.
It sounds like the same thing. Remember when Bethesda announced Elder Scrolls 6 a while ago, like a year ago?
It's the same thing. They're making it. They're
Yeah.
working on it. It's
in pre-production.
Like, they've been probably working on it for years now, but like they're not within a time frame where they can even say.
I don't feel like if they've been working on it for years now, then they would have some sort of a timeline. I feel like this is we started pre-production.
Well, games are to the point though where there's a lot of times there's like a year of development on like a single property before you know, hey, if we're gonna actually run through on this property.
Well, yeah, it's called pre-production.
Exactly, but like, I don't know. We'll see.
Speaking of things that people have no idea about when they're gonna be out, Jeff Kaplan says he has no idea when Overwatch 2 is going to be out.
Yeah. Okay. So they're doing a story thing to Overwatch now, and that's Overwatch 2.
If you ever did Overwatch, if you've never played Overwatch, they do seasonal events, and a couple of those seasonal events is a PvE mode where they have like bots come out, and apparently that's all what Overwatch 2 is going to be. It's going to run through the same client. It's going to have the same skins that'll carry over. Essentially, if you don't have Overwatch 2, then there's just going to be a PvE option in the Overwatch client that is just going to be locked for you. So
is that true?
Yep, I've done some research into this.
Wow,
which is good, because if they didn't keep the skins, that would be a bastard move.
It would be weird because people have dedicated so much time and money into.
Well, the idea would be, they'll just make them dedicate that much time again, baby.
Well, no, but like it's cool that it's like we're just gonna have it carry over, and that's fine. Like I think that's a decent enough.
Oh yeah, 100%. That's a very pro-consumer choice.
Yeah.
For them. Thank you.
But the thing is that would you have to buy Overwatch 2, or you just get an expansion on Overwatch 1 and it just turns into Overwatch 2?
You need to buy Overwatch 2. It's a separate game. I don't know if it's gonna be full priced or not.
Yeah, that's what I was basically asking.
But it's gonna run through the same client. Essentially, it's gonna be like paid DLC.
Okay.
So, next Overwatch story. Another Canadian in there, Sojourn.
So Overwatch is all about their characters and making them like diverse.
It's a new hero, yeah,
and unique. So
as you can see here in this PC Gaming article, she looks like Black Samus.
Yeah, she's a new Black Canadian French person, maybe Frenchish.
Probably French Canadian.
So Sojourn is pretty French.
Yeah, from she's a free Quebec radical. That's her backstory.
Okay, sounds good. Is this all Overwatch news?
No,
okay.
Don't worry, because this is some Anthem news. Another Anthem lead has left BioWare.
So Anthem was the failed project from BioWare recently, where they were trying to compete with the Battle Royale.
No, Schluter genre.
They're trying to compete with the looter genre or whatever.
Shooter looter.
And it didn't pan out for them. And for some reason, BioWare kept on pushing it.
No, EA made BioWare push it.
Sorry, EA made BioWare push it for whatever reason.
Anthem is probably the worst game to come out in this decade, I want to say.
It came out at the wrong time. It came out...
Well, also, the Schluter genre never really took off.
Didn't it come out at like the exact same time as... the Respawn game?
Titanfall?
No.
Apex?
Apex. I'm pretty sure it came out the exact same time as Apex Legends
It
came
was
out.
close to it, but they're not. They're in different genres
I
completely.
know, but like those are two big games, and you have all this time throughout the year to release these games, and why would you?
Well, Anthem was already delayed a ton.
Yeah, I know.
Anthem is just a mess. It's a trash fire, and I can't believe that there's still news about it. But yeah, just when we thought the head was cut off of Anthem, like the neck is removed, like the heart is punched out, to put it in Terminator terms. So not much to say there.
Mm-hmm.
This is a bit interesting though. Nintendo says more 3DS titles will be coming to Switch besides Pokemon and Brain Age, apparently.
Okay, so let's face it. They're pushing away from their 3DS and their DS kind of market in general. They want people to just get the Switch.
Well, the Switch Lite sold, I believe,
Pretty
2
well.
million copies in 2 months. Let's see. The data team is coming in. Let's see here.
No, we have no data team.
Yeah, no. Oh, yeah. 2 million units in just 11 days since it's September 20th launch.
2 million in 11 days? That's pretty good.
Yes.
That's very good on the sales.
Which is surprising to me because, like, in my eyes, there's no reason to get a Switch Lite. I think it's a pretty crappy product. But hey,
Well, it's
Nintendo hit it.
It's
apparently.
a smaller Switch with kind of less features, but like you can still do things on it. And if you just want to get it to get your kid like a new thing, like
Yeah, but it's pay $50 more for. I mean, no, pay like, it's really
it's $50 less for a console that you may as well just cough up the other 50 and get a
I know
Switch.
it's sort of the thing.
But like parents don't know that, and also the Switch Lite is a little bit more child friendly. I want to say
It's probably a bit hardier. Yeah.
it's like it's probably more compact and durable. It doesn't have the pieces you can take off, so it's like less likely to break,
Lose the Joy-Con.
to lose it and break it like that. Which
Yeah,
is
I
why I
guess so.
see it as like kind of, it's like it's the younger, it's the
baby.
it's the little brother,
It's the light.
it's the like yeah, which like I have nothing horrible against it. Just like if your kid's above like 7, just give him a Switch or whatever.
Yeah, I know, right?
Like, come on.
So the next news story, I don't know we're flying through this, but Ubisoft confirms at least a lead higher up from Ubisoft is like, yeah, we're gonna try to put all of our PvP games. We're going to desperately try to get them to be crossplay. So that is a good, I would say.
Cool. I don't care.
Yeah, I know. I saw it. I thought it was
It's
interesting
not
because crossplay is the new thing.
It's the new thing. It's the new backwards compatibility and crossplay are like the
This is a big story, though. The PlayStation 4 has outsold both the original PlayStation and the Wii.
Okay, so the Wii was the biggest selling console of all time.
Not anymore, baby.
Okay, but let's get into why the Wii was the biggest selling console
Because
of
it
all
hit
time.
a brand new market,
It hit a brand new market of kind
which
of
is old people ready to die.
That's the thing. It was motion controls, and the way they marketed it was genius because they were like, we're going to market it to everyone. All their commercials and ads were like, anyone can do this. Grandmas, grandpas, it's for exercise, it's for having fun with your family, it's for party games, it's for this and that.
Unplug your life support, plug in the Wii.
That's the thing. And it was a brilliant marketing strategy, which is why I was so sad when the Wii U came out and they just
Didn't do anything.
They bombed. It bombed hard because they're like, oh, it's got the Wii name. But okay, so PlayStation 4 now has outsold the Wii. But the PlayStation 4, does that include every iteration? So PlayStation, PS Pro, and whatever else came out?
The total PlayStation 4, so including the PlayStation 4 Pro.
Okay. So yeah.
PlayStation 4 consoles.
So, yeah.
I believe that means both of them.
Okay, so how long has the PlayStation 4 been on the market?
2013? 6
13?
years?
13.
7 years?
Yeah, 7 years. So that's pretty good. That's pretty good. Like a little over 10 million a year.
Actually, the correction from the data team, the Wii was never the best-selling home console of all time.
Was it the PlayStation 1?
It was the PlayStation 2.
PlayStation 2.
PlayStation 2 was the best-selling console. 155 million units.
Wow.
Yeah. Guess how many the PlayStation 4 has?
I don't know.
102.8
million. So PlayStation 2 is still the highest.
It's crushing it. Absolutely crushing it.
Yeah.
So that is crazy.
It's all those Metal Gear Solid 2 fans or whatever.
Metal Gear Solid 3.
3. Sorry, Metal Gear Solid 3 actually was a big game. People liked it.
Oh my god, yes. And people didn't like Metal Gear Solid 2 because Raiden, but that's a wrong opinion.
I loved it. I never played it, but I know it was brilliant because Kojima's like, hey, we're going to make another Metal Gear Solid game, and all the trailers and commercials were like of Snake, the original character, and he's like, you're playing as Snake, and everyone's like, I'm going to be playing Metal Gear Solid 2 as Snake. All the trailer stuff was from the first mission, and you never play Snake after that.
Yeah.
I think that's amazing. I think it's great.
It is pretty funny. Do you remember when I said Overwatch news was gone? I lied.
I hate you.
It's more Blizzard news. Blizzard loses Mitsubishi as a big sponsor after the whole Hong Kong thing, which is pretty crazy in my eyes.
It's a big corporation backing out of a big corporation.
Yeah, it's important that esports gets the cred that it needs to keep on living, and I'm an esports guy, and so the fact that Blizzard is losing this is a big deal. It's a very big deal. Big deal, very big deal.
It's what country is Mitsubishi based in?
I believe Mitsubishi is Japanese.
Okay. That's interesting.
It's certainly not China.
No.
Yeah, so the Taiwanese branch of the Japanese auto company. So already they're in fights with the Chinese government.
Jeez. Wow. That's kind of
Taiwan
sucks.
number one.
Don't do racist accents.
It's a reference, don't worry. Last thing, and this is a big bummer for me. So Sony is shutting down PlayStation Vue in January of 2020.
What is that?
It's a pay-for TV service. It's an internet TV service.
Oh my
which,
God.
Guess what? My family has.
Of course they have.
I recommended them take PlayStation Vue because it's one of the better services out there. But now it's being cut.
What was on it?
It's TV.
They just offered TV?
Yeah, they offer TV.
Like cable, kind of like?
Yeah. Way cheaper.
Wow.
And easier accessible.
Wow. That's...
Cut the cable cord. But now it's just Sling and YouTube TV, which absolutely blows because now I'm going to have to tell my parents that, remember that one super secure financial decision I told you about, internet TV?
It's gone.
It's gone.
It's gone.
It's gone.
It's gone. Yeah, okay.
So that's great.
Yeah, it's not ideal.
It's just wonderful.
That kind of sucks. So that's the news.
That's the news. Really quick news because we spend a lot of time on our subjects, but that's not everything because we have... Ba-ba-da-ba.
What are you doing?
What's the third segment of our podcast, Morgan?
Oh, letters. We're doing emails and stuff.
Tell them the email address.
Well, you can find us at peterpettigrew.com/ No, you can find us at betweenclasspod@gmail.com.
Please send us an email. We're lonely.
We have no letters.
We have no mail. Please, God, please send us mail.
You can send us a letter, longhand. You can write it out. Like,
yes,
we'll read
send
it.
us an actual letter
I'll
to
read
our
it.
address.
I promise I'll read it.
Or send us an e-letter to our betweenclasspod
I think no one
at
listens.
gmail.com.
I think no one listens this far, and this is why.
We'll start doing it at the very beginning.
I was
then.
going to say we can plug it at the top.
We're going to plug it at the top.
Okay.
Well, what are we going to title this episode, Morgan?
We can take all the time to decide. No one's listening this far. I don't know. Just next week we can do Breaking Bad. You want to finish Breaking Bad?
I'll try.
Please.
Blake here. You just listened to the Between Class podcast, and I hope you had a good time. You can support us by liking this video, subscribing to our channel, clicking that little bell icon so you get notified when we upload, and showing your friends. So go ahead, have a great week, and I'll see you between class.